Welcome back. In today's video, I'm going over how to calculate a gain or loss on the sale of rental real estate property. I'll also be breaking down all the taxes that come out of a gain on sale of real estate with depreciation recapture. And we'll look at all the tax forms associated to reporting a gain on sale of rental real estate property. Now, this example is going to continue from my last video on depreciation for a rental property. It's the same example. So if you're unfamiliar with rental property depreciation, be sure to check out that video first. Let's jump in and get started.
When you sell real estate, you calculate a capital gain or loss. And this is because real estate is a capital asset, whether you own the real estate for personal use or investment use. And that's what capital asset means. It means items that are held for personal or investment use. Note that this does not mean for an active business purpose.
And although rental properties sometimes are categorized as businesses, in general, it's still a personal activity and usually falls under the capital asset category. So to calculate a gain or loss on your capital asset, you have the amount you received, the sale price, and then you subtract out the adjusted basis in the property. And that's going to equal a gain or loss. And with real estate, it's often a gain because we have been in a hot real estate market for a long time.
Okay, so you might be wondering, what is your adjusted basis? Basis essentially means what amount you have invested in this asset. Your adjusted basis starts with your cost basis when you purchase the property. What you paid, it's increased by any improvements you make to the property, and then it's decreased by the amount of depreciation expense that you take each year. And that gives you your adjusted basis. Now, I go over this in detail in the real estate depreciation video, so be sure to check that out. Now, for this calculation, sometimes people will say, well, do I have to take depreciation expense? Or maybe I didn't take depreciation expense over the years. But when you do this calculation, you treat the depreciation expense that should have been taken to get to your adjusted basis. There's no benefit in not taking depreciation. And if you didn't take it, you'll want to correct that so that you get credit for those deductions, because it's going to be treated as if you did take it when you calculate the gain or loss.
So in the year that we sell a property, we have the sale price, everything we received, minus our current adjusted basis in the property. And that's going to equal a gain or loss. And with real estate, it's often a gain. Okay, so our capital gain tax rates are lower than your regular income tax rates. And one thing to be aware of, that you have to have held the asset for more than a year for these special rates to apply to a gain. So in 2025, our capital gain rates for a single filer, the first bracket was 0%, which applies to the portion of taxable income related to the capital gain up to $48,350. The next bracket, up to $533,400, applies to a 15% tax rate. And then above that is a 20% tax rate. So there are these three tax brackets: 0%, 15%, and 20% of the capital gain. In 2026, these amounts were just increased by about $1,100 each. Real estate is called a Section 1250 asset because it is a capital asset that you took depreciation on. Now, depreciation recapture means that to the extent that the gain was attributable to the depreciation deductions that you took, there are special rules related to the depreciation. Essentially, they're allowed to be taxed up to a slightly higher rate, and the tax calculation simply works out different. And I'm going to show you that tax calculation when we go through our example, so we have numbers to work with.
So how is a real estate sale reported for taxes? So it is reported on Form 4797, sale of business property. Even though our rental property is its own category, rental property, for the asset sale, it goes on Form 4797 as business property. In Section 1, we report the long-term portion of the land sale. And in Section 3, we report the sale of the property associated to the building, which is called Section 1250 property. Then any gain or loss flows from 4797 to Schedule D, capital gains and losses. And on that form, it will be netted with any other capital gains and losses. And then the capital gain taxes are calculated on the Schedule D tax worksheet.
Okay, let's jump into our example.
Okay, so in this example, we started with a cost basis of $1,675,000. Because land isn't depreciated, we subtracted that out, and that got us to our depreciable basis of $1,375,000. Then our depreciation each year is straight line makers coming from our asset listing depreciation calculation worksheet. And if you have questions on how that was calculated, be sure to check out the last video. So here's our adjusted basis at the end of year one, 1,339,583. And this was in the first year of 2015. So after that, we got a full year of depreciation each year. And then in 2025, on April Fool's Day, we sold this asset for $2 million. And so this 875 is our adjusted basis. Now, because we have 300,000 allocated to land, we are going to allocate 300,000 of the sales price to the land. So this might not actually be correct because you can't just arbitrarily allocate an amount to land. It should be based on the appraisal values, or if there were any details breaking out the costs in the sale agreements. But for the sake of this example and keeping it simple, we're going to do it this way. We had the remainder of the sale price being 1.7 million minus our adjusted basis. So this is our adjusted basis, which has been reduced by the depreciation for that year. And that means our adjusted basis is 875,000. So, and you need to know this number to be able to calculate your gain or loss. A lot of times people don't have records of this information, and you need to go back and create these records the best you can. So our sale price is 1.7. Our adjusted basis is 875, which means our gain is 825,000. Now down here, I've put DEPIN, which stands for depreciation recap. And so the total amount of depreciation that we've taken since we started renting this asset was $500,000. And you can see that amount here. So what is depreciation recapture? So depreciation recapture is the portion of the gain that was attributable to the depreciation expense deductions you took over the year. Now, there are two types of depreciation recapture. The first type rarely applies because it's only caused by using accelerated depreciation that's beyond straight line. And makers depreciation on rental real estate has been straight line for a long time. So this would only apply if you have a much older property that was placed in service before, I believe, 1986. However, if there was accelerated depreciation, the amount above what straight line would have been is taxed at ordinary income tax rates. Again, that won't apply to our example and doesn't usually apply to properties that have been placed in service in the last 40 or so years. Now, the second type applies a lot. Number 2 is unrecaptured Section 1250 gain, which is taxed at ordinary income tax rates up to a maximum of 25%. And so this applies to all of the depreciation expense that you took, even if it was straight line. So in our example, the $500,000 of depreciation expense that we took over the years is our unrecaptured Section 1250 gain, and $325,000 is the remaining long-term capital gain.
So now let's take a look at how this is reported on the forms. So this is our income tax return, and we're going to take a look at Schedule E for reporting our rental property net income for the first 3 months of the year. So remember, we didn't sell the property until April 1st, and we had $15,000 of rental income and the depreciation of $14,583. So the net amount for taxes was $417. So next, let's scroll down to Form 4797, Sale of Business Property, to see the sale of the rental property numbers. Okay, so in Part 1, we have property held for more than a year, and this is where the land portion is reported. We had $300,000 gross sales price minus a $300,000 cost basis equals 0 gain or loss. Now, if we flip over to Part 3, we can see our building portion, the sale price of $1,700,000, our cost basis $1,375, and then $500,000 attributed to depreciation, our adjusted basis of $875,000, and therefore our gain of $825,000. So now we'll see that $825,000 gain flow over to Schedule D, capital gains and losses. And this is where it would be netted with any other capital gains and losses, which we don't have in this example. On the second page, we see the net capital gain of $825,000, and then the portion of that $500,000 of unrecaptured Section 1250, which is that portion that will be taxed at ordinary income tax rates up to 25%, but not more than. Then the Schedule D tax worksheet is what calculates the capital gain taxes. And this starts with our taxable income, which was the $825,000 gain minus the standard deduction of $15,750, and also plus the $417 of net rental income. And when you go through this schedule, which is a bit monotonous, the result is $160,791 of taxes. Okay, so to summarize the Schedule D tax worksheet, we start with the $825,000 gain, of which $500,000 is unrecaptured Section 1250 related to the depreciation. So that leaves $325,000 long-term capital gain. And so if we look at our capital gain rates for a single filer from earlier, we can see that $325,000 as a total is in the second bracket. It's above $48,351 and below $500,000, $33,400. So the $325,000 is taxed at 15%. For a total of $48,750. Now, we don't calculate the remaining taxes on the $500,000 unrecaptured Section 1250 because first we get to reduce that by the remainder of the single standard deduction or itemized deductions if someone itemized. So the single standard deduction is $15,750, reduced by the $417 of net rental income because that absorbed that, gives us $15,333. So we're going to reduce the $500,000 gain by $15,333, which means we're going to calculate taxes, Section 1250 unrecaptured taxes on $484,667. Of that amount, the first $197,300 is taxed at ordinary tax rates because this gets us up to the 24% tax bracket. So there's 10%, 12%, 22%, and 24%. Those are marginal rates, and so the total tax on that $197,300 is $40,199. What remains is $287,367 of the unrecaptured Section 1250 gain, and this is taxed at the maximum rate of 25% for a total of $71,842.
Our totals on the left mean that we've taxed the full $809,667. That's our taxable income for total taxes of $160,791. There's also the net investment tax, which gets added on of $23,766. For those who want to see this on the Schedule D tax worksheet, check out a video I'll have linked below where I do this example on the tax worksheet. It's just very monotonous, and I was trying to keep this video a bit shorter. And this is already pretty complex to break out, so the worksheet can be even more confusing, but watch that video and I'll show you how to approach it line by line. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear any questions you have down in the comments below. If you want to get a hold of any of my spreadsheets, be sure to check out the Master Your Accounting and Taxes program. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.